Anyone remember Johnny Test? It is a show that had a boy named Johnny Test, and it showed his adventures. Every episode in the show contained his name. The show initially ran from 2005 to 2014, but was revived in 2021 and is still running to this day. There was apparently an unreleased episode that was going to be the season 1 finale. I was online a few months ago watching YouTube videos. I watched about 10 videos before I decided to get ready for bed. After going through my nighttime routine, I thought, oh well, maybe one more video won't hurt. After all, I was bored and hoping to see anything. When I googled Johnny Test, I found something on RapidShare. The file's name was Johnny Test. Season 1 episode 14.zip. I was confused, since the first season has 13 episodes. Maybe this was a cancelled episode available online. Therefore, I was thrilled and decided I would watch it. I downloaded it and went to the folder. It contained the episode in a notepad file. It was titled description.txt. I opened it. It read, "This is an episode of Johnny Test, dated 2005. The episode was made to end the first season, but never aired for the content. If you upload it on YouTube, it will be removed due to a copyright claim by DHX Media." I began to feel a bit suspicious and my heart pounded, but my curiosity overtook me. Turns out, that has got to be the biggest mistake I've ever made in my life. The episode began with the usual intro. Nothing too odd yet. However, the first thing that didn't seem right was that the audio was distorted. And when the logo appeared, it was blood red on a black background. Turns out that this website was not screwing around with me. There was really something wrong with this episode. After the intro, the title card popped up. It was on a red background and the text was white. It said, "Johnny's Butthole Test," which is odd because there wasn't an episode that goes by that title. It began with Johnny walking to his classroom. When he got there, the teacher said that there will be a very important test today. "Okay, class, we will be having a very important test today, especially for you, Johnny." I'm gonna need to try my best to get a good grade on the test. But he sadly didn't. I felt guilty for some strange reason. After the test timer went off, everyone handed in their test. When the lunch bell rang, everyone in the class went out to have lunch. Johnny stayed in the classroom while still doing his test. "Johnny, did you finish yet? I want to check if any of the questions are right." "Well, I tried my best. Next time when there's a very important test, I'll study for it." "Thank you, Johnny. Now go finish your lunch." When Johnny got home, Johnny's parents got a call from his teacher. "Johnny, we got a call from the school. It's about the test." "Yeah, I tried my best and never gave up like my sisters always do." "Well, we don't want to hear it." So, they sent him up to his room. A time card read, "The next day, followed by the school bell ringing. The scene then cut to Johnny walking into his classroom. When he sat down, his teacher said he was going to read out the grades everyone got on the test yesterday. When his teacher got to his grade, he said E minus. Everyone gasped in Johnny's classroom and laughed at him, as well as throwing pencils and pieces of paper at him. Johnny became petrified when one of the kids said, "You're a loser and will never get anywhere in life." During the whole school day, Johnny had people beating him up and verbally abusing him. Johnny went home after the last day of the school week ended. He snuck into his house and he went into his sister's lab. He opened a closet, grabbed a Star Wars style gun, and went downstairs. He went behind a couch and approached his father, who was sitting down watching TV. Johnny said to his father while he was behind him, "Turn around. I have a surprise for you." I didn't know where this was going until Johnny decapitated him with the gun after he turned around. After I saw Johnny burning his body, Mom came around, and he blew her head off as well. Then there was a knock on the door. Johnny answered it, and it was the group of people who bullied him at school, plus Bling Bling and the teacher. Johnny then shot off all of the bullies' heads, as well as Bling Bling and the teachers. Why could I do this to them? I'm such a failure. I'm never going to live anymore. It cuts to a scene at his bedroom. Johnny is sitting on the bed, looking downward and slouched with a depressed look on his face. It stayed on Johnny for an uncomfortable amount of time. I felt awkward as Johnny barely moved. There was no audio, just dead silence. At first, I thought this was a mistake and the storyboard artist forgot to make Johnny do something. Because this was a lost episode, I didn't expect it to be very well made. After about 2 minutes of this, Johnny sighs and begins to cry softly, as a sad violin tune played in the background. After about 30 seconds, Johnny's crying gets more miserable and filled with pain. This wasn't cartoon crying. This was real sadness. It was so real that it was almost heartbreaking. The scene warped slightly and something flashed over the screen, but I couldn't see it because it went by too fast. But when I rewound frame by frame, I saw something that almost made me vomit. It was a still image of a dead alligator with his head cut off and stomach slit open, exposing its organs as they spill out of the wound in its stomach. I gagged after seeing that picture. This is weird because of the alligator in Johnny's Royal Flush, where he is killed horribly by the maceration chambers spinning saw blades. As sickened as I was, I carried on. Back to the scene. Johnny's crying gets louder as the scene progresses. After about another minute of this, he stops crying and then looks at the screen with red eyes. I took a screenshot of it, even though it was scaring me, but for some reason I carried on. He begins to cry again, but this time it sounded less realistic and more cartoon style. The screen abruptly cuts to a view of him with a gun in his hand. He puts the gun in his mouth and pulls the trigger. Realistic blood and brain matter was splattered everywhere. After that, Dookie walks in and screams at the view of Johnny's body and begins to cry intensely. The episode ends with a view of Dookie crying over Johnny's dead body before it cuts to black, which stayed there for a few minutes. After that, it showed a disturbing and unsatisfying image. It was a picture of Dookie's dead body. He had a hole in his heart and blood was coming out. The blood covering his body and the background was everywhere. The audio being played in the background is a distorted version of Michael Jackson's Thriller being played in reverse, which gets louder and louder up until the point where it got so bad that I had to turn the volume down. The image thankfully cuts to static for 10 seconds before going to black. The credits rolled, and it was just white text on a black background. There was no audio, and at the end it said, "You're dead," ending the episode. This was a very shocking experience for me. I couldn't sleep for 2 days, as I kept on getting nightmares about the following episode. So in the morning, I decided to email Scott Fellows, creator of Johnny Test, about this disturbing episode. I didn't get a response until weeks later, and the email said, "To whom it concerns. From Scott Fellows. Subject, Johnny Test. Season 1, Episode 14. Reply. I am sorry. I have never made anything as disturbing or demented as you have described for me, but I understand your worry. So I think you should get rid of it. Scott." I permanently deleted the episode off my computer and never saw it again. As a result, I decided to watch some cartoon videos from the 80s and 90s to get the episode off my mind. The end.